So, hello and welcome along to another edition of Isolation Interviews for Hospital Radio and my YouTube channel. And I am super excited to be joined by my guest today, who is an absolute icon. She is, of course, the fantastically talented Gillian Wright. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
Now, we obviously have to start off by talking about the strange time that we find ourselves in. I mean, obviously, it's a year near enough to the day that we first went into lockdown. For you, how has this last year been? Because I know that obviously working on a show like EastEnders, it's a continuous project to be a part of. So for that to suddenly stop and for you not to work on there for a while, what was that like?
Well, to be totally honest, that first lockdown was like a big present. It was like being given the most beautiful gift of time, and being able to be at home. I'm very fortunate to live in the countryside, so have quality walks with my dog, be able to catch up on art projects that I was doing, and just indulge reading in daylight, not 5 minutes before I turn the light out at night. Just quality time. So that first lockdown was a present. And also I've got an allotment, so there was a worry to begin with that there were going to be no seeds to plant, and but gradually that's a lifesaver actually, being outside, and we had such lovely weather. So and then we went back to work in the June, and we've been back ever since. And it's hard, to be honest. I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful to have a job, to still be earning a living, and especially in our industry, to be one of the few actors that are still managing to work. I think we were one of the first group of people to go back when everybody else was still not working, and we're still filming with social distancing. And so the guys in the edit suite are having a ball, because there's lots of shots that they have to overlay, and their technical expertise is being challenged, and they are succeeding, and they're having a great time, I think, and they must be very pleased with themselves, whereas us on the floor aren't having quite such a good time, because we're acting with tennis balls on sticks instead of the other actor, and that can be quite challenging. And there's no socializing, there's no green room, there's no time to be with your fellow cast members apart from on set, and then that has to be very heavily choreographed in terms of walking on the set, walking off the set, picking things up, touching things. It's full on, really.
I mean, I was going to say, as actors, well, as human beings, we love, human contact, touching, hugging, just being close to one another. So it, like you say, it must be so strange having to kind of adapt to the new normal, and people that you would often, meet up with, hug, I mean, I imagine, especially the Slater family, Jesse Wallace, Lacey Turner, Layla Morse, you guys, I can imagine, are always, together. So when you're not able to be close, it must be hard.
Yes, it is hard, but at least we're still seeing each other. Well, yeah, we're still seeing each other. So, I have to keep saying, no, not too close, not too close. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting.
Because I was talking to Balvinder Sopal a few weeks back, who of course plays Suki, who Jean and Suki obviously don't have the greatest of relationships on screen, but she was saying about how you have to deal with like 2 meter sticks, and everyone's having to keep their distance. So I imagine that when, hopefully in June, when things go back to normal, I imagine you guys will, in particular on the set, you'll celebrate that you'll be able to get close again.
I think it will be hard to adjust, actually. I think we'll have to remind ourselves, like we remind ourselves, oh no, can't touch, can't, be, oh, we can. You can come and stand next to me. I can sit next to you on the sofa.
And I imagine you'll be excited to get back into the green rooms and be able to actually properly hang out off set as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, indeed. Find out how people have been coping with it all, really.
Now, obviously, Jean is such a fantastic character. She joined the show, you joined the show back in 2004. What were your early memories of joining that show, of getting the role of Jean? How did that come about?
It came about because a director, Alice Troughton, had cast me. I'd auditioned and she'd cast me in, I think it was Doctors. I had a little storyline in that, and then she was directing a couple of episodes. I think it was maybe it might have just been one episode, where not long after the character of Stacey had arrived in the square, they wanted a couple of scenes with her mother to explain why she's a young girl has arrived on the square without family. And so it was just for those couple of scenes that I was cast. I really enjoyed that. I think I sort of twisted. Alice was very good at encouraging you to twist the script a little bit, not play it on the nose quite so much. And so then I think, was it maybe a year later, they had a short storyline for Jean, which they brought me in to discuss about her being bipolar and Stacey having to break into the house, which she boarded up and all that. And I'd done my homework, and so they were reassured that it could be done. So we did that, and I treasure those times, because when you're a newcomer in a big show, it's not easy. But we were out on location, and we were our own little unit, and it was great. It was great, and I loved the writing. The writing was, making the character be so upset because another character has come into the house and they haven't wiped their feet. It's just joyous. It's joyous, and lovely lines. And just Lacey and I both remember a lot of all of this with a lot of affection. She can't find the oven chips, and I get very cross with her because the oven chips are in the oven. They should be in the freezer, And lovely imaginative writing where the chips, she can't swallow the chips, and so it was great, yeah. And then gradually they asked me to come back for little bits here and there, and then those little bits sort of got a little bit more, and I was more and more often not available. So then they sort of said, well, we'll give you a short contract. And by then I'd sort of thought, I've done my bit, and I'd got another job touring Europe. So I said no, politely declined. But my agent at the time got me out of the European tour and got me a longer contract with EastEnders. And then the ball just... it was a big decision because the character was very intense. And the question was, can we maintain that intensity as a regular character rather than a guest character? And everybody thought, no, it's not on. We have to find a way of settling her so that she's not that intense all the time. Otherwise you'd have a nervous breakdown yourself.
I imagine for you, obviously, when you first join a show and you're told that you're playing a character with bipolar, I imagine the research that has to go into making sure that you get it right, and that you're representing people who have it all around the world. I imagine there's a lot of pressure in a way, but also responsibility, and you want to get that right.
Yes, there is. And that happens when whatever you're doing, really. And I'd done recently had done a part in a play that I'd taken 3 years to develop, which was based in a lot of workshopping and a lot of research, and so I was used to that. And yes, there is an enormous amount of pressure, because I've sat and watched television programs and thrown my slippers at the telly when I've gone, oh, you haven't done your homework, it's not like that, or so yeah, that but it's not about getting it right. It's about because for each character, bipolar is different, so it's unique to Jean, her bipolar, but there is a big sense of responsibility, not only to those who suffer the illness, but also their friends and relations that have to carry them along as well. So yeah.
And one thing as well that I mean, you know, you play Jean so well. She's such a lovable character, and one of the things that we love about her is her connection with Stacey, her daughter. And of course, you know, you and Lacey clearly get on so well. I mean, what was it like when you first met her? Was it an instant click? Did you get on straight away, or did it take a bit of time?
Yeah, it was fairly instant, really. But I mean, such a long time ago now. She was so young. And I think I was in many respects. And I suppose we've just grown older and fonder of each other as, you know, as more and more adventures have happened between them, you bond more and more, I suppose, you know. Yeah, so we're bonded together in our memories of our adventures as those characters.
And I mean, also over the course of your time on the show, Jean has had a couple of love interests. Of course, Ollie, who at first we thought that could have been a solid relationship, but obviously they slowly kind of drifted apart. And then Daniel, who was such a great fit for Jean, but obviously, you know, he passed away. So going forward, I know that obviously we've got the return of the cancer storyline for Jean, which is obviously a tough storyline to go through, but do you think there is possibility for more love in Jean's life, or do you think she's kind of happy where she is?
I don't think at the moment, while she's dealing with the cancer story, that is all consuming, I think. So I think another love story for her isn't on her mind, isn't on the radar. And I do think that for her, Daniel was the love of her life, even though up to and including who was the other character?
Ollie.
Brian, the character that never existed in real life, you know, on the screen, was her true love. But until Daniel came along, and Aid did a fantastic job at playing Daniel, and he's sorely missed. It
must have been so exciting when you found out that he was going to be playing your love interest. I mean, Aid Edmondson is such a legend.
Everybody knew apart from me. And the night before, it was the night before I was going to have a scene with him early in the morning, people were shouting out to me, good luck, you know, tomorrow. I was going, yeah, great. Do you know who it is yet? And they go, oh, don't you know? We better not tell you. There's a lot of, we better not tell you. And then somebody shouted out, good luck with Aid tomorrow. I went, Aid who? And then I was actually quite nervous. Well, I was very nervous. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
So he was such...
When I met, when David Essex came into the show, and I was living in the Queen Vic, he was like my pin-up when I was young, you know. So when I first met him in the corridors of Elstree, I was talking to Tamika, and he was coming up behind me, and I said to Tamika, I've just got to say hello because I've got a scene with him. So I said hello to him and had a nice conversation, and off he went. And Tamika went, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean? She said, you curtsied. I said, apparently I curtsied. I went, hello. So when I met Aid, I walked across the makeup room telling myself, don't curtsy, whatever you do, don't curtsy. And he was having his haircut, so I put my hand out to introduce myself and said, I'm Jill, I play Jean, and I've got some scenes with you today, and I'm really looking forward to working with you. And he was having his haircut, so he had to get his hand out underneath all that. And he shook my hand and he said, oh, likewise. And then he said, oh, we're avid fans of EastEnders. And in fact, my wife says to say hello. Well, instead of saying, oh, say hello back, I just did a Goldfish impression, because in my head, I'm going, oh, that's Jennifer Saunders. So I said absolutely nothing. And then said, are you being looked after? He went, yes. I went, good. And I left really quickly. Oh, well.
I mean, that would be amazing going forward, to see if they could get Jennifer Saunders on EastEnders. Do you think that would ever be possible?
I know, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Now, obviously, the other big relationship that Jean has, and I love this friendship, is with Shirley, of course, played by the very lovely Linda Henry.
Yes.
For you to work with her, because she's nothing like her character. Like a lot of actors are nothing like the characters they play. For you working together, that must be a lot of fun because again, it's another bond that just shows so well on screen.
Yeah, we do have a lot of laughs, and there's a lot of mutual respect there. And I'll never forget, many years ago, we were doing a night shoot on the top of the roof of the Queen Vic or something, somewhere. I'd got a telescope, and she was scared of heights. You can't go wrong with a story like that. Yeah, they tell it like it is, which is ever so refreshing. It's lovely to have a relationship where you can just say what you think. And not worry about the consequences, you know.
Now,
where you can be short with each other and snappy with each other, like Jean is with Mo. You know, you don't have to worry about the consequences. You're just fully accepted as you are, and you accept them as they are, and you rub along, you know.
And I think that's the other great thing with the relationship with obviously Daniel and the friendship with Shirley is they're both very tough characters. And I think that has slowly rubbed off on Jean. She's kind of got a lot tougher. She stands up for herself more. And I think the audience, when they're watching Jean, they really want her to be, you know, to get her own back on people when they, you know, because sometimes people, you know, double cross her and all this. So I think the audience are happy and excited to see Jean stand up to people.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah, when Rob Kaczynski came back a couple of years ago, and the writers had written for Jean that she had taken stock of the journey that she had come so far in her conversation with Sean, and was saying, and it was a lovely sentence which sort of summed it up really, which is she had felt up to that point that she had been standing in someone else's shoes, and I really liked the way that her journey and her gradual, her strength had been acknowledged on the screen as opposed to chatted about afterwards, you know. So yeah, she has got stronger.
Now, a lot of people will want to know, because obviously one of the things that Jean is always talking about is her sausage surprise. Do you actually know what a sausage surprise is? Because I don't know if we've ever actually seen one on screen.
There's been many variations on the theme of the sausage surprise, and I'm often asked this question. I don't make it, you see. The props people make it, so it's whoever's in charge of props that day. It tends to have a lot of mashed potato on the top and the sausages sticking out. I love the fact that she thinks everybody loves it and actually everybody hated it. Like, you see, that's just lovely, isn't it?
And that's a family, though. That's what families do. They kind of pretend to like things, but then they're honest with each other and they go, do you know what? No, we don't like it. We don't want to eat this.
Not anymore. You know, it's very true, isn't it? My mum, when we were younger, when Sarah Brown and her cookery books came out, vegetarianism was like the in thing, and we were vegetarian for 2 years, much to my dad's. He couldn't bear it. He just couldn't bear it. Kept looking at his dinner going, where's the meat? Yeah.
Now, obviously, going at the moment, you know, we've got the ongoing storyline with the return of Jean's cancer, which, again, it's another tough blow for Jean. She's been through so much. I mean, I think the audience eventually are going to want her to have some good news. But for you, doing the cancer storyline, that must be tough as well, because there's a lot of emotion that goes into it, and it must be very draining to do those scenes.
Yeah. Yes. But it is a gift, and it is a privilege. I'm sure everybody has somebody that has died of cancer in their lives or is going through it, and I certainly have. And so I need to honour the people that I've lost, the friends that I've lost through cancer, and ovarian cancer especially, and those that have survived and are having a lovely life, you know. but it rocks you to the core, and so it should really, I suppose. So it I have to give it my best.
And I imagine as well with Jean is the thing that the having cancer, it has toughened her because it makes her realize that life's too short. You know, there's no point being on the sidelines. Again, we were talking about strength and power, and although it does make you weak, it also makes you stronger in a way, I think.
Yeah, and I think she's had a few chances to say what she's learned to other members of the cast on the odd occasion here and there. I think she has, yeah. I still don't know what the full journey is yet, so you get an overall arc, but I don't know the end of it yet, and I sort of don't want to know. I just want to play what I've got on my plate.
I mean, fingers crossed. I know a lot of people are hoping that this isn't going to be the end of you on the show, because we love watching you on the show. If you were given the chance, though, to write your own storyline, is there something you would love to see Jean do?
Oh, now there's a question. I feel that she is overdue a big bout of bipolar. I think there's been quite a few triggers that she's overcome in one way or another, but I think to be truthful to that part of her psyche, as it were, I think that is due at some point or other, and that could be a lovely adventure. I mean, we have had some little, her toes have been when she ran off and got the caravan, and there's been, but I think she is due a bit of a meltdown at some point or other. There's been too many triggers, really. I sort of would love to do, I don't know if I dare say it really, I'd love to do a bit of a one-woman show with Jean, some shape or form.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, when the BBC Studios did Talking Heads, I really, really wanted to do one of those. And then I thought, wouldn't it be lovely if I could do one of those as Jean? Wow.
That would be fantastic. And
out of the scope of EastEnders, though, wouldn't it? It would be something other, I suppose.
But then, having said that, I mean, June Brown had an episode all to herself where she had that. When Jim first had his stroke, she had an episode where it was just her talking for the length of the episode, and it was a BAFTA award nominated episode. So it shows that one person on their own can carry the show.
Yeah. And I have in my theatre life done quite a few long monologues, and there is a challenge in them that is very, very appealing in terms of your skill as an actor, which you still need to have challenged. I know it's not the BBC's responsibility to do that, but you still need to have challenges as an actor. I think especially if you're a regular in a soap, you're part of the reason why you choose to be an actor is the variety of roles that you get to play. And in a way, you sort of try and find that in the character, I suppose, which is lovely to be able to play a character that turns on sixpence and I can be snappy one minute and funny the next, or, that is joyous,
And that's the great thing with Jean, is that she can do 1 minute she can do funny comedy and have you in stitches. The next minute she can have you bawling your eyes out with tears, because she's great at, and this is you as an actor as well. She's great as, she can do comedy, she can do serious stuff as well, and it's that is a testament to a true soap icon, I think.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean, we know as well that obviously Lacey's taking a bit of time off again because she's having another baby. So obviously, she's had another son, son. So obviously, congratulations to her. But I imagine that's a great time obviously a bad time for you because you know you don't get to see Lacey at work, but at the same time you get to see a different side of Jean when Stacey's not about.
Yes, it's true. Actually, we had it's funny, when she left to have a baby, I left the show for 4 years, and then she came back, and then when she left for a while, and I was there. So we've both had a few years without the other character there. I think she'd left when I was in the Queen Vic with Jessie and Shane, with Kat and Alfie, and that was great because it gives you an opportunity. You know, somebody has to. Jean was quite bad then in those days, so they were put in a position of looking after her and dealing with it, or trying to see what the signals were, which if it had been Stacey, she would have picked up on the signals earlier. So yeah, it is. Yeah, there are always opportunities.
Now, I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. But before we go, is there any messages that you would like to give to anyone who's currently in hospital, or to the amazing NHS staff that are working so hard, or any of the key workers that are just doing such an amazing job at the moment?
Well, like I do have experience being in hospital for some time and being very poorly, not with COVID, I hasten to say, but it's really hard sometimes, and all I can say is hang on in there and be really strong, be the strongest and bestest person you can be, and hopefully everything will work out all right in the end. Yeah, everybody's doing their best, so that's all you can rely on, really. You're doing your best, they're doing their best.
No, I just want to say, Gillian, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving up your time. Of course, keep safe, and hopefully we'll speak again one day.
Thank you very much for asking me.